Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The yellow belt preparation for the certificate. We are going to start. What is the Six Sigma? As last time, Six Sigma is a statistical measure which show how much variation exists between an observed data point from the mean. In 1986, Bill Smith was the first person to develop this principle, and he is working on Motorola. Six Sigma work on elimination of the defect and reduce variation. Lean is concerned about the waste. Six Sigma eliminated defect and reduce variation, and it needs the agreement to support the decision from all the staff business, which is known as buy-in. So Six Sigma is a continuous quality improvement methodology that focus on defect per million opportunity. Those projects that have a quality experience with Six Sigma, it means that there is a defect not more than 3.4 defect per million opportunity to do the job. So if I have a process that I repeat it million times, only the defect will occur in 3.5. There is other level of Sigma, 5 Sigma, 4 Sigma, 3 Sigma. Whatever this level of Sigma comes down, the number of defect per million will increase. It does mean that 6 Sigma will be 3.5. If 5 Sigma, it will be hundreds. 4 Sigma, the defect will raise to 1,000. 3 Sigma, 100,000 of the defects per million opportunity. In 2 Sigma, less than 500,000 per million trial, and in 1 Sigma, more than 500,000 of the million trial. So if I am keen about the safety of my process, like in healthcare service and aeroplane service, I have to apply a Six Sigma level to keep it safe. So what does mean that Six Sigma has 3.4 defect per million opportunity? It means that the process is accurate 99.99966%, almost 100%. It does mean that in case of aeroplane, there will be inappropriate landing for the aeroplane. One may be short or long landing every 5 years. Or in case of healthcare, there is possibility of 1.7 incorrect surgical operation per week, only 1.7 per week. Suppose my process is not at that high level of safety of 6 Sigma, maybe 4 Sigma. It does mean that the short and or long landing may be once each day. It does mean that every day in the news, we will have some bad news that globally there is one aeroplane landing improperly. Or if you are going to a surgeon that work in a hospital applying only level of 4 Sigma, it does mean that there is 3,000 incorrect surgical operation per week. That is the meaning of applying a high level of 6 Sigma in the process that you need to make it very safe for your customers. Now we are going to discuss what about poor quality. Poor quality means that it is a bad mouse. When the customer come to your place and he said, لا والله الخدمة سيئة. Unfortunately, it is a poor quality. So The Six Sigma determine the cost of poor quality to reduce cost and waste. Before we have definition about Six Sigma that it is related to eliminated defect and reduce variation, and now it is determine the cost of poor quality for the aiming of reducing the cost and waste. How they doing this? First, they have to know what are their customer. The hospital have to define what are the customer and what is the important for them. Then understand what they are in need, what is their expectation of the service that they come to receive. And then they will produce a specification of the service according to meet these needs. This is define your customers, what is the voice of the customer, what is their needs, and try to find what is the problematic area in your hospital or in your area that does not meet this need of your customer. Then determine the internal process that cause variation and cause defect. What the causes of this defect, and develop way to address the causes of this defect. And then develop metrics to standardize the process and to measure the changes that is applied to reach your goal. Same like what we have said. This is the changes that based on measurement, irrespective of the point of view of anyone or the person working on it and the assumption, it is a precise process known as the MIC. So the Six Sigma applying the MIC, they determine the cost of poor quality to reduce the cost and waste. Let us again state the starting point, voice of the customer. We have said it before. The voice of the customer is how does the customer describe the quality. It is usually expressed as specification limit. هو جاي عايز ايه? What is the level of the quality of the service he asked for? What is the defects that the customer can tolerate to accept? What is the quality improvement should align with that level of need that he expressed? So, customer is the person who drives the project, and he is the goal of our project. Whatever this customer is, internal or external, because with any process, it is not only aimed to the external customer. Some processes are internally, and the end user is internal in the hospital. Like the doctor and nurses are the end users of the medical record. They ask for the medical record of the patient to go through it to find out what is the problem before and to document in it what is the current situation and what is going to do to improve his health condition. So the medical staff is the end user for an internal process as a customer. So the customers are internal and external. The voice of the customer, why we ask customer to define what is his requirements or need? Because the customer is important. The customer is important because he pays for the service. He supports the resources needs where I will put my money according to the specification that he needs. If he is concerned about the air condition of the car, other than to put a CD better than an old radio. So whatever his needs will direct me where I am going to put my resources to meet his needs. And he is the one who used the end user of my product. So the voice of the project is the customer. Let us collect the customer needs. We are going to collect the voice of the customer either reactively after he receives the service or proactively. It does mean that before he receives the service. Reactively through the complaint of the patient, the sales reporting if I am using products, or web page if he complained to the MSD or the web page that he writes some comments, or proactively by doing surveys or focus group or benchmarking or direct interview. We will ask him what you don't like in our service. What are your expectations about our service? What is important to you? What is the defect you find? How do you find us in relation to our competitions? How are we doing your service? And what do you like in our service? This all will give us the voice of the customer, because the voice of the customer is the goal of our project. How customers' expectation could be defined. Whatever positive or negative includes what he likes or dislikes. We will ask each customer what is his desire, what is important to him, what they perceive as a defect. So the three main points is what is your needs, what is important, put priority about what is the most important, second in rank, what is the least important in the service that you are asking us to deliver to you, and lastly, what is the defect that we need to know, what is the defect that he can shoulder, which is the least important criteria in his point of view. How to change this voice of customer into material that we can work on. We are using two tools, the critical to quality element and the key process metrics, and another tool we will discuss, but not in details because it is in the details is mathematical calculation, usually at the green belt level. First, critical to quality element. What is the critical to quality? It is a measurable characteristic of the product or the service that the patient specify the limits that must be done to satisfy him. My goal is to satisfy the patient. I have to know what I am going to do from his point of view to make a product with a specification that satisfy my customer. It will help to translate what is his need into measurable, actionable action to be added to the process or to be changed in steps in the process that it will meet his expectation. How can I know it? Through what is known as critical to quality tree. I have changed his needs into performance requirement in the process of production of my service or product. Here, the customer need great donut. It means that he need it fresh and with different variety. So I have to put in mind how to make it fresh, to produce it on demand only, because if it will kept for some time, it will not be fresh. If I am going to deliver it to him, I have to put it in a box or bag that preserve freshness for him. The variety, how I can make a performance requirement for his demand about different variety. I develop regular menus about 20 types of donut. I have to change it every now and then, and I have to add seasonal flavor in every season with that donut. Let us make some practical example about critical to quality, because last example is not measurable, actionable. Let us make it is actionable only. Let us do it measurable and actionable. The customer need is good service. What is his concern is waiting time, pleasant staff, and the refund policy if I'm working in a private sector. If in the waiting time, I'll put it, the performance requirement that 90% of my customers has to be satisfied with the waiting time. So I have to work on the waiting time to make it 90% of my customers to be acceptable by the waiting time. So I will ask him what is the proper time of the waiting time that you need. All phone calls have to be answered within 20 seconds. In our daily work, we said 3 ring. After 3 ring, don't wait for the 4th ring of your phone. Within 3 ring, you have to answer. Third, performance, it is a measurable, actionable action, specification that you have to do to satisfy your customer. 90% the purchases process or refund process has to be finished within 2 minutes. I'm not going, if you want to buy something or to pay for something or to take money back, I'll not let him wait for a long time. So it has to be within 2 minutes, measurable, actionable. If the pleasant staff, all the customers greeted the patient within 30 seconds of attending. And all the customer-facing staff to smile genuinely when interacting with the customers. It could be observed by an observer when he will check to find out to what extent we are applying the changes in any process that to meet the customer need. The refund policy, we will state in it because we stated that control means sustain the changes that you have made to the process to be a habit, documented, and ask everybody to do it in the proper way. And at that time, we will give the end result of the project to the staff to be applied and to make it as a daily habit. So 80% of the customer satisfaction with the refund policy, and everyone follow up this refund policy. In the medical field, we will give the hospital aim is concerned about the operational cost. The patient point of view, optimal care satisfaction. He needs his satisfaction. In case of medication, the hospital concerned about reducing the inventory and the patient avoid the out of stock occurrence. When I come to take my medication, it is I know that it is 5 items. They give me 4 and they give me a slip of paper. Next time or after 1 week when it is available, we will call you back. Now, the strategic wise, it is called as big wise, the big outcome of the voice of the patient, of the voice of the customer, and there is little wise, which is the project objective. We change it into critical to quality to work on obsolete stock. We will work on safety stock level and the order size, how to make it cyclic level of the inventory to become short time. This is how to change the customer voice into specification, measurable, actionable, that need to be put in daily work to satisfy your patient. The other example is the key process output variable, which is either key process input metric or key process output variables. In any process, there is input and output. I have to look about the key process input variables and output variables. This example talking about the printing process. I have to look about the ink viscosity, the machine speed, the paper weight, the paper gloss, the formulation. Because if I am not looking for this input, I will have faded color, misregistration, spots on the printing papers, or poor adhesions of the what I have printed to the paper, or over coloring. Usually, you have to think about, it is only a question about what about the key process metric that it is a tool used for translating the voice of the customer into measurable specification that you can do to increase his satisfaction. The third tool to change again the voice of the customer into performance measure, translate the customer requirement into performance measure known as house of quality, or quality function deployment, QFD. It is a mathematical way to change the qualitative customer demand into quantitative parameter. The wording of the quality of the customer, I have to change it into numbers, figures, and percentage to work on. How to, this is the role of the green belt members of the team. But at the yellow level, you have to have a general idea about how it could be done, only a general idea. That we will put here in the first table, what is the customer want? He wanted lightweight. It is if the camera is lightweight, easy to use, reliable camera, easy to hold steady, and no double exposure. And then he will put prioritization weight, how important is each criteria in his point of view. Then these are the action that we doing inside our hospital, how we can meet the, or in the factory, how we can meet this requirement in the form of, if it is 1 giving dot, 3 giving ground, 5 high relationship giving ground with dot inside. That we can do it aluminum to make it lightweight. We can make an agronomic design to overcome easy to hold in steady. Here we put the competitors level of our competitor in production of this criteria, if it is good, fair, or poor. At last, we calculate the in number, how we can do it, the need of the customer, So it does mean that 1 multiplied by 3 plus 1 multiplied by 4 plus 3 multiplied by 5. So this, the total is 22. This is the weighting rating that we can do, so we know how we can respond to the voice of the customer. It is not the way, it doesn't need that you need how to calculate, but it is almost the same of the prioritization matrix of the Joint Commission that we have applied in our hospital. That's why I was keen to explain the prioritization matrix of the Joint Commission, because it is a good application of the prioritization. This is the same. Starting Six Sigma project. Once you determine customer's requirement, you need to determine what is the data needed to make improvement. First, team will start the continuous quality improvement. The first thing to do is to make the staff aware and trained about what is the project that we are going to start. So before cutting the tape, you have to train and aware your staff about what is the problem area that we are going to work on it, and what is the methodology that we are going to apply. The Six Sigma project, usually in Six Sigma, it comes from the higher authority, not like the TQM, the total quality management. Usually we said every department to sit together to find out problematic area, and then to vote it twice, and then to make it 3, and then prioritize it. And while brainstorming and taking all the problems, those problems within the reach, they can work on it. If it is out of your reach, raise it to the higher authority. This, the problematic area that comes from the higher authority, with it will give an idea about what is the internal customer voice, and through the patient survey we will take external customer voice. These two will be placed on the table of the higher authority to take a decision which area we are going to start with. This is why we said in Six Sigma, it is a top-down methodology. That means that the decision to implement, it comes from the top and to the staff. That is why we are in need of buy-in or commitment of the staff, because the decision came from up. Sometimes it is belong to the voice of the customer, of internal customers, and sometimes it is will make them doing something that they didn't like, or they didn't accept from the, it is not their own question. So the key consideration of Six Sigma is the desire to meet the needs of the customer who receive the product. Staff are customers, and they could be internal, or our staff is internal customer. That's why we need the buy-in. It does mean that the agreement of the staff to support the decision of the project. Where to start? In which area? In the area where the business does not meet the customer needs. So I have to apply the Six Sigma in the area of the business that does not meet, but I have too much areas or too much problematic areas, which I have to start with. I have to, the basic in TQM is prioritization matrix, either using the prioritization that we have discussed or cost will effect with time of application and so, and giving weighing scores, or using the joint commission prioritization matrix. In Six Sigma, they are using the cost benefit analysis. And there is a tool known as Pareto Priority Index. It reflects the cost benefit analysis. The formula is the Pareto Priority Index is the saving multiplied by the probability of success divided over the cost and completion time. It does mean that if I have high saving and high probability of success, I will choose this because the Pareto priority will be more than 1, will be good. If I have high cost or long completion time, I am not going to choose this project because it is cost benefit analysis. Pareto priority index is not good. Let us give example to see what is it. The financial division sit with the master built expert Six Sigma team leader with the champion from the higher administration level of the organization, because they will put the list of the project and they can put down for each project how much saving could be done. They can predict the probability of success, the cost in thousand, the completion time months, because they are expert in money, in administration, and in previous project. So they can predict how much is the saving for each product, the probability of success, the cost, and the time of application. And they will apply it in the Pareto priority index, and they will give us the index. 250 multiplied by 95 divided by 25 by 4.5, it will give this to 21, 2.1, 2.5, 2.4, 7.3. There is point here. All of these are almost near each other except project C. So in this table, the outcomes of Pareto priority index for A, B, and D are almost in line, but the project C is significantly higher. Therefore, the project which I am going to choose is project C. What you have to know that how they can judge the priority, what is the area to be worked on through Pareto priority index, how it could be calculated, saving multiplied by the success divided by the cost multiplied by the completion time. You are not be asked to do it, but you have to know what is it. There is other element on deciding what project, what we are going to use, which is the reputation of our organization, the stakeholder and the staff point of view, the supplier timing. If I am starting project that the items will giving delay, I don't want it. The staffing is available to apply this project or not. I am in need of too much staff with certain skills. So to start a Six Sigma project, I am in need of specify a champion, which is a high administrative high administrator, sponsoring the project, putting down the resources and deployment of the project, have some training of Six Sigma, but his main role is to nominate the black belt and to remove the blocks in the road of the Six Sigma project. So the champion is a high administration level who sponsored the project, put down resourcing, and have some knowledge of Six Sigma. And his role in the start to nominate what is the black belt or black one who can run the project. The process owner is the manager of the area where the process will be worked on. If I'm going to start a Six Sigma project in the dental lab, the process owner is the director of the dental lab because he knows what is the steps and processes inside his area, and we need his cooperation to work with, because most of the changes will be done in the processes under his authority. The black belt will be the Six Sigma project manager. He talks with the process owner to understand what is the process and to choose together the team members of the project, because the team members are, some of them are belt holder and some other staff that know the different processes inside the area. After deciding what is the project, we have to nominate the black belt from within the business to lead the project. Again, the black belt with the financial, with the champion, we will put resources, how much the cost and resources needed for the project. The black belt talk with the process owner to understand the process and choose together what are the team members. Resources from daily operation will be diverted to project the different activities inside the project while it is going on. A team from the organization will be trained and invest part of their time to run the project in the area. Money and persons are important, but the most critical point in the project to be run properly is communication continuously from the start and along with all the time of the project while it is running. This communication between the master belt, master black belt, and the process owner with the team, it is a continuous communication that will give us what is the data needed, gathering data needed to be work on it, what is the process, and then what is the changes that has been done. So it is a continuous communication from the step 0 till the end of the project. The belt level we have spoken about, but we are going because it is the most important to be repeated again and again. The white belt are individuals, are not involved in Six Sigma project, but work in a company that runs the Six Sigma process. They understand the structure and goal of the Lean Six Sigma. They use basic Lean Six Sigma vocabulary terms. All of you now are white belt certified. You know already what is the vocabulary, what is the structure and the goal of the Lean Six Sigma. they can report the process of the issue to the green and black belt. The yellow belt, those individuals who are subject matter expert, that they know, they are expert about the processes that we are working on, and they are hired as a part-time in the team of the Lean Six Sigma or Six Sigma project because of their expertise as a subject matter expert. These members are generally not involved with the project directly, but because of their experience, we depend on them totally, because the green belt and the black belt doesn't know in depth what is going on the area that we are working on. So the yellow belt understand the basic Lean Six Sigma, report process issue to the green and the black belt because they are not aware of the processes that they are working on in details, but the yellow belt is a subject matter expert. They participate on the project team and receive just-in-time training while they are sharing. They will know what is critical to quality, how to change the voice of the customer into performance requirement, measurable and actionable. So while they are part of the team, they will know how to use even quality function, this mathematical way, the house of quality, they will know how to calculate it. The green belt is an employee who take beside his regular work a Six Sigma role, along with his other job responsibility. So the green belt is the one employee who take on a Six Sigma implementation along with his regular job responsibility. He operating under the umbrella of the black belt. He start and manage Lean Six Sigma. He knows the processes, how to fill up and to use any tool of Six Sigma. He has a Lean Six Sigma expertise, but in less than the black belt. He provides just-in-time training to the yellow and white. What about the black belt? Black belt can report to the master black belt who has been chosen at organization-wide to overview the project at the organization. The black belt is the head of one project. The master black belt at the organization level can coach more than one project at the organization level. The black belt has advanced Lean Six Sigma expertise. He functions as a coach and mentor and teacher for the project lead and the project leader for the project team. So he is coach, mentor, the green and yellow in the project. Master black belt, he work with the leaders of the organization to identify what is the projects to work on the organization. He coach, mentor the leaders of the project, the black belt leaders, and responsible for the Lean Six Sigma implementation and culture change. We will repeat it again and again. Don't bother. Champion is the executive leader who drives the initiative. He helped to select the project and remove the barriers from the road of the project team. He supported the change and developed a Lean Six Sigma culture in his organization. Again, the Lean Six Sigma team. The entry level is the white belt. The yellow belt, he is a subject matter expertise. The green belt is the one who knows how to apply the tools fully. He can, the green belt can be a leader for small project, but for big project is the black belt, and the master black belt will be at the organization level. Champion is administrator from the organization, having only knowledge, same like the white level of the Six Sigma, and he is administrator with all the expertise of leadership, and he can put the resources to be sponsor for the quality improvement project. So the team members with belt are obtained through the organization for expertise and guidance. Some team members has no belt, which are stakeholder, the executive, the director of departments, and the champion. They provide the strategic alignment of the organization. How you can rank the team members? Belts used to define each role and the contribution of each member in the Six Sigma team. Again, the white belt. It is introductory level of knowledge of Six Sigma. He works in problem-solving teams. The yellow belt. It is participate in the project team member. He reviews the process because he is a subject matter expertise. The green belt. The green belt assists with data collection, analysis for the black belt project because he is the one who knows how to use the tools of the Six Sigma. Black belt. He is the leader of the problem-solving project. He is coaching and training of the team members. Master black belt. He trains and coach the black belt, and he is the expertise that a source for the knowledge if anyone faces some problem. Again, champion. He guides the team through organizational support, resources, and remove roadblocks. Master black belt. He trains the black belt and the green belt, the managers for the projects, either big black belt or manageable size by the green belt, and put the strategic direction of the Six Sigma project in the organization. The black belt, he leads the problem solving team. He is the team leader. Then the green belt, assist in data collection, assist in data analysis for the black belt because he is the process owner that can, not the process owner, he has the tools to work on the data to specify what is the action to be done, what are the root causes. He is the real work inside the project. Yellow belt, he review over all the activities, participate as a project team member because he is subject matter expert in the area we are going to work on. The role of each one. The executive manager is the sponsor of the project. Black belt provides the guidance. Green belt, operational work. Yellow belt, identify the process that need improvement because he is the expert in that area. The project team totally execute the actual work. The yellow or subject matter expert provide the guidance. What is the tool used in Six Sigma? It is a dynamic tool. We have discussed it and again, like the belts and the roles and the responsibility. You have to know it by heart. Define what is the problem and what is the goal, and develop a process map, either visual or high-level process map, looking for the customer need, and the budget is defined from in the define to put the budget that we will use in the successive steps. This is the define. Then measure. What is the current situation? What are the causes that causes this problem? Data to be collected to prove how big is the problem. Then analyze this data to know what are the root causes of the defect and specify what is the most important root causes to work on by developing a change or a solution to be applied to the process. We have too many suggestions for solutions. We will prioritize it and we will choose the most important solution, effective solution, and implement it. Then in control, we will continue the improvement by lean. If we will find any waste we can do to eliminate it, we will follow up the improvement progress through metrics. We sustain the success and document it in a form of new policy and procedure, spread it to the staff to work, to be committed to work on as a habit in daily activity. Again, in define, you will develop a fully trained project team who is committed to the improvement. You have to full support management, including necessary resources. You will identify what is the characteristic, the actionable, quality to care. Yani you have to define the voice of the customer into actionable, measurable elements, require performance elements that to be applied to improve the process. Mapping the non-business process. The activity of defining will be a mutual cooperation with the localized management and the appointment black belt. Define, we have said that the champion with the black belt, they sit together to put where the areas to start, and then to put a budget and resource in the define with the help of financial department. The tool which is used is cost benefit. The cost benefit ratio using the Pareto, using the BBI. So we will put, sitting together, we will put the how much is the effect of the saving, how much will be the probability of success, how much will be the cost, how long it will be completed, to put the Pareto priority index through which we can choose the project. This is defined. Then second stage is measure. In measure, We identify what is the key measures, what is the data needed to prove that we really have a problem, and developing and deploying what is the data to be collected from where, and then develop baseline performance of documenting the variation and communicate it to the staff and the higher authority that this is how big is the problem. That you have a problem, we measure it, from where we measure, how we measure, what is the validation of this measure, that we have this data and we now know how big is the problem big. Then we are going to analyze the root cause analysis of the matter concerned. What is the gap analysis, where we are and where we want to be. Where we want to be is the critical to quality. We want to reach 90% of satisfaction of blah, blah, blah. It is a top to bottom data process. It does mean that the data will be directed through, we choose the problem and we will collect the data analysis. What is the data analysis leading to this type of problem? Then improve, developing possible solutions, different solutions that will be helpful in overcome this problem, determining which one are the best solution, and then developing a subsequent implementation plan and apply this plan in reality. This is improve. Developing possible solution, determining the best by prioritization, and then what is the plan, who, what, when, and then implement it in the reality. In the control, we are going to standardize the process by the application of that solution, documenting the new procedure, and then implement the monitoring plan and transferring the documented solution in the form of policy and procedure back to the staff of the organization to be committed to use it as a daily habit to improve. These activities of each stage are dependent upon the outcome of the previous stage. So it is like a ladder. Define, measure, analyze, define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. This was supposed to be the end of the first video. The second one will be the role of the yellow belt. Again, it is only a revision. A member of the organization, his role is acting as a subject matter expert on the process being reviewed, ensuring the Six Sigma project uses the correct terminology because he is the expert of the process. So using the terminology relevant to the business in describing the process, because the green belt and black belt may be not working in the dental lab. They doesn't know the specific terminology applied in the dental lab, assisting the gathering of the measurement and metric during the measure stage. So he share in the define, in measure. The only step that he didn't share is analysis. But in improvement, he worked with the green belt to communicate the improvement and process change to the staff and departments affected by the project. So he is the link in between the green belt in communication with the staff because he is one of them. He communicates with work colleague and acting as a change agent in the Six Sigma project. He collected the data of metric after the improvement to be sure that the implementation is well and good and working in the same direction. So he share in implementation and control. The only step the yellow belt is not asked to share is analysis because he is not asked to do it by his own hands how to use the tools and mathematics. Some terminology you have to know because you are yellow belt, you are not asked to do mathematics, but you have to know the terminology. Some say R the mic, the R is a recognition. Some organization use it to confirm that there is a need to change to take. So they said it recognition phase. Six Sigma is not quick fix business, but it is a continuous quality improvement methodology. The function is a process or application which lead to an outcome. This outcome may be differ from the expected outcome. We call it variation. When the outcome differ from the expected outcome, it is a variation. But if this outcome is totally unacceptable outcome by the customer, we call it defect or error. The variance or standard deviation are statistical terms measuring the variation, and we will discuss it in the data management sessions. This only are the mic terminology. Quick fix, is it quick fix? No, it is not quick fix. It is a continuous quality improvement. Function is the process that is working step by step in the process. Variation if the outcome differ from expected outcome. And if it reaches error, the amount of difference or variation from the perfect outcome is too much. Variation in Six Sigma, we will discuss it in the data management. Now you have to know what is the problem solving strategy. That equation we have discussed before at a wide belt level. Y equal F for X. Y is the outcome. F is the function for the input. Yani the inputs, we are working on it by functions, processes, to give the outcome, which is Y. We will give the example of making a cake. X is the ingredient, the flour, the sugar, the eggs, the milk, the ingredient that you are making. They are mixing, baking, cooking, and then the end result, Y, is the cake. The equation is the outcome, the cake, equal the functions, mixing, baking, cooking of the ingredient. Sometimes they said plus epsilon. Epsilon is the amount of variation that could be accepted by the customer, because every time you make a cake, it have not the same taste because of the function that you are going to do. You may change every time the temperature of the oven, the amount of the gradient. If you change the amount of the gradient, the tool, the function itself, that you may let it fragmented for a long time. So the outcome equal to the process of the inputs plus the epsilon, where y is the desired outcome, x is the input or factors or variables or elements required to create the outcome, اللي هي الفلور والشجر والايج والميلك and baking powder. F is the function of the process to be applied. Epsilon is a Greek letter, represent some level of error of the amount different due to uncertainty when the process is applied. This time the temperature of the oven is a little bit higher. You left it for a little bit longer. You at this time you find one egg is not good, so you put one egg less in that cake. So this is the problem solving strategy. The outcome means equal to the functions of the ingredient plus epsilon. This will give us the principle of determinism. The principle of determinism stated that all outcomes are determined by the way inputs are transformed in the process. So we look at the process and see how the process allows this variation. The process will change the input into outcome, and we look at the processes to find out what the cause that affect the input to different variation of the output. This is known as cause and effect philosophy. The inputs, process function, and error within the processes will cause the outcome to be a little bit variant every time. This is if you are going to make up that doll, it will be good. If you the processes, if you are taking long time in hair cut or put too much lipstick or whatever it is, it will give variation in the picture of it. زي عندنا في مصر ما بنقول لبس البوصة تبقى عروسة. And it differs, the outcome will differ according to the processes made on the input. There is some other quality approaches that you have to know at this level, which is TQM, ASQ, whatever the approaches is. TQM, it is a system management. It is a focus medica tool we have discussed before. The difference in TQM, total quality management, that every member of the staff must be committed to maintain a high standard of work in his everyday according to the company's operation. It is one of the most popular quality methodology. It is adapted in Prince Sultan Medical Military City. Our main methodology application is focus medica, TQM. And there is certain video we have discussed before about the focus medica while we are discussing the A3 format, while we are discussing that video. The TQM relies on examining problems and proposing solutions that need to be accepted by the people in a democratic way. Here, the choosing of the project depends on the brainstorming, double voting or multi-voting, and then prioritization. It comes from the bottom. while in Six Sigma, it comes from the higher authority, where the higher authority listen to the voice of the customer, of external customers through the surveys and interviews, focal groups, whatever the tool, reactive or proactive, and they have the voice of external customer, and they have the voice of internal customers through what have been raised from the departmental managers, and they make the cost-benefit ratio using the Pareto prioritization index and choose the area to be worked on. This one comes from up, but in TQM it comes from the staff. It identifies good ideas, but does not necessarily identify the best ideas. This is their point of view, that they choose the best ideas because they are using mathematical way. And the cause of effect analysis in quality management usually ensure that better than existing processes are going on. Other approaches we discussed before also, which is the lean methodology. The lean methodology, we have said before, those who did not attend in first white belt training, the lean methodology focus on the waste. And the waste are 3 types: moda, mora, mori. And the moda are 8 types: the waiting time, الريدو, الترانسبورتيشن, الموشن, الأوفر بروسيسنج, الأوفر برودكشن. You know the other 2, unused talent, and I have missed one. This is my question now. Yes, thank you. In lean, you have 3 types of waste. Mora, unevenness of the work, that there is variation in the process, which has been done every time, not within certain limit, that the patient stated that I go to the hospital, I waited sometime 30 minutes, sometimes 45 minutes, sometimes almost 1 hour. So unevenness of the process, this is the mora. The mori is overburdening, that you will ask the worker to do something more than they are willing to do, put them under stress. So we try not forcing them to do more than they can handle. The moda, we said that it has 2 types. Moda type 1, which is non-value added activity, but necessary for the end of the customer. So we will keep it. And moda type 2, it is a non-value added activity, but unnecessary for the end customer, so we have to remove. So if it is necessary for the product and the satisfaction of the end user, it is type 1. If it is unnecessary for the product to satisfy the patient, it is eliminated. But both of them are non-value added activity. Then International Standard Organization, ISO. The ISO certification usually focus on documentation. It usually confirms proper documentation maintained, kept accessible, and stored properly. This usually we are using in the administrative department because of most of their work is through documentation. ISO is a well-respected and knowledgeable business benchmark which demonstrate the intent of the organization regarding the quality production. So this is the ISO certification. Now, let us go through the history point of view, which is not a practical one, but some have say that you have to know. Quality improvement is to look at the way you currently do the business and seeing how you can improve it. It passes in a long history. In late 13th century, there was a handmade craft manuscript and guilds يعني نقابات. At that time, it was a manual manufacture, and everyone is made one piece, sometimes good, sometimes not of high quality. So he has to sign on the piece he made, because the guilds or النقابات stated that everyone has to put his name or sign the product he made, and it will be stamped by the guilds that this is the one who made it, and this is the idea of trademark. Start with Eli Whitney, who invented the cotton gin, ماكينة حلق القطن. He introduced mass production and interchangeable equipment part, and this led to significant improvement after doing piece per piece. In late 20s, 1920s, quality began to be driven by inspection. And then the revolution of Henry Ford. He began moving automobile assembly line. This further exemplified the need of part consistency. If sometimes broke, it will need to be repaired rapidly to eliminate assembly line delay, and we will show you what is the automobile assembly line. Then by the mid of the 20th century, Mr. Schwartz, the father of the statistical quality control, he introduced process control chart. These methods will collect and analyze data in a visual way to be shown by every employee and the staff. Then comes Edward Deming, who noted the management that he stated that the management is responsible about 80% of the problem. And his theory is optimization, variation, knowledge, and psychology. He take the BDCA cycle of Shewart and improve it into BDSA cycle, and becomes more popular. And he put down the 14 principles, and his methods is applied in Japan. After the World War II, he went to Japan because the military will not focus on quality, so he shifted to Japan, and his activities helped the Japan's recovery after the World War II. In Japan, Ishikawa, he is the quality management innovators, that he is a key figure in the development of the quality initiative in Japan. The most famous Ishikawa fishbone tool that could be used till today. Joran, in 1954, he has his big Q. He has his big Q concept, defect elimination and cycle time reduction. And in 1970s, في سبعينيات القرن الماضي, the Japanese factories apply his principles and became more effective than those American companies. So in 80s, the American manufacturer realized that if the Japanese apply Juran principles, why we are not, and they start to apply it in Motorola and General Electric, and they improve their work. And now the latest era is the quality 4, and here you can find out that the continuous quality improvement since 1913, Henry Ford installed the first moving assembly line in mass production in car manufacture. He reduced the time for car from 12 hours to 1.5 hours at that time, but now Ford manufactures 16 cars a minute. He has 4 principles in his assembly line: interchangeable parts, continuous flow, division of the labor in between workers, and reducing waste. The left side is 1913 and the right side is nowadays in Ford. The continuous quality improvement is a continuous journey, and nowadays this is a quality for 11 axes of the quality, which is data, analytics, connectivity, collaboration, application development, scalability, management system, compliance, culture, leadership, competency. It is only for your knowledge. Quality is not about what you produce being accurate as you see, but it is the customer see it. Thank you for your time.